Alrighty. Daily recap for Friday. Um, yeah, what boiled down? Well, going into Friday, we had formed this swing low, right? Finished forming this swing low on the daily on the purge of this with SMT. Obviously, I would have wished for this low before we start moving higher to be really convinced, but this was still relatively decent. Um, and then since we had formed that swing low, also, this is a nice high on the like hourly and 4 hour chart, like a swing high. Um, yeah, for me, it was just like, okay, well, we're gonna get a continuation higher, right? That's basically what my bias was from like a high time frame perspective. And then if we drop down to the hourly chart, we can see that overnight we kind of retraced in London, I'd say, and then kind of came back up into New York. And then at some point in New York, we actually got a rerun of lows. But yeah, overall, um, basically my framework for the day was we're gonna uh, take this retracement from London and run over the top of it, right, and take this high. Now, did we take that high? No. I don't know why the fuck we consolidated for 4 hours to end the day instead of taking the high, but um, it's not like a huge deal. Then this is where it got interesting because we had this buy side and we were not willing to really go take it for a while here. Um, we had a failure swing at like 10 a.m. And then on this big wick candle, I'm pretty sure that was some kind of news, um, which ran the low, right, on all indices essentially. Um, and then from there, we actually ran higher, put in a almost perfect equal high, dropped one more time, basically, I think maybe to consequent encroachment. Let's see. Extend lines. Ooh, no, actually not quite, but basically, right? Like almost. So then we got another retracement, and then from there we just got the continuation, and then essentially nothing else, right? Now, what was the macro visions? What were the macros looking like today? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. 10 a.m. I was bullish, right? So 9:45 and 10, I was looking for a run of this high. We were just trading higher. There was no SMTs or anything, so just sitting on my ass. Nothing happens. We end up breaking down and then going into the 1050 macro. Is this the same as yesterday? As Thursday? I'm not sure. But we had a day today before where we had like a big retrace and then essentially we came into the macro and the only thing I could potentially look for to take a trade would have been a consecutive candle SMT when we were like going back down into the wick. Was that not yesterday? Was this here? Yeah, here. This setup. Low key the same thing, right? Big sell off, drop into the wick, drop into the wick, get consecutive candle SMT at that wick, and then get a continuation move. Yeah, basically the same setup we had yesterday. Um, Also, same macro, which is interesting. But yeah, there was very nice framework for long. This is essentially like yesterday. Also, when I went into the macro and I saw we were trading like down into this wick, I was like, okay, do I want shorts? Hell no. We have all these highs stacked. Do I want longs? Hell yeah. How am I gonna get longs? There's gonna have to be a 50-minute consecutive candle SMT um, at the 11 a.m. open, which is kind of what I said after 10:45, because there's no way we're gonna go all the way down here and still get a valid breaker to form. Like there's not enough time in the macro. So this was kind of the only way, and it actually ended up happening. Then we rally, right? We close above this, which would be a breaker here, right, on the 15-minute. Low, high, lower, low, close above, breaker. Um, we retraced down into it, like I mentioned, and then this was approaching the 1150 macro, but heartbreakingly, there is none of this that I can mark out because there was no SMT. If if we look at ES, it's the same structure, and YM was doing some other shit anyway, but yeah, like 12 a.m. technically there was this as SMT, but spoiler alert, there was no valid breaker that or order block that had anything to do with that. So I mean, yeah, that was basically the day, and now we get to the heartbreaking part. So again, 950, we were also just chopping, but also like there was nothing to trade, kind of, no SMT. So we end up breaking down and then retracing and then getting like a little con lower. There actually was a breaker here too, which I will mention. I had no interest in this, but there was a bearish breaker, obviously right here, which was also in the macro, and I'm pretty sure there was SMT like this maybe. Let me zoom out to the 15 just to make sure here. I'm pretty sure there was SMT even. So 1045 to 1030, 1045 to 1030, 1045 to 1030. Yeah, so YM put in a higher high to 1030, right, at 1045. So we had consecutive candle SMT. But as I mentioned, like with these highs, and then the extended highs up here somewhere, no interest in shorts. This one candle had already basically taken out everything we needed to the downside. So no interest in shorts whatsoever. This actually would have hit, funnily enough, right? And it is at the start of the macro, but in my opinion, pattern trade right there, but that would have hit 2R. And then, yeah, we come lower off that. We get this 1 minute and we have this SMT marked out. It's always ugly to mark this out, but this is the 1045 low, and then this is the low that we put in post 11. And as I mentioned, YM was the one who failed to do the same. So we had consecutive candle SMT. First I was stalking this as a breaker when we had SMT to here, and it looked like we might close above this. Then I was like, okay, now we form this breaker, close above at 1107, limit gets set, add the breaker, and it is heartbreak as price runs away without ever looking back to my limit. So yeah, that was a little unfortunate, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes, huh? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? But yeah, that was basically everything for the day. As I mentioned, we take this high and put in another relative equal up here, right, with these highs. And we drop, and I was already like, oh my god, am I gonna get a second chance to take a long here? Are they blessing me? But then the way we just, you know, eat it all back up without much, like, I would have needed a rerun of the low and then we go to have some sort of breaker entry potentially, but yeah, we just don't get that. So there's nothing to do. 1150, 1250, this is what we're looking at. So yeah, see you later. Right, like, I'm not doing that. And then as it was Friday, 1250 is the last macro I engage with, because usually like the end of PM on a Friday looks somewhat like it did today. So yeah, basically all we can say for today is good performance on not, you know, taking any trades that weren't there. Technically missed a winning trade with this short here, but as I mentioned, I don't think that short made sense, so I'm fine with it. You know, and then had very good framework and very good intuition to stalk this long, and you know, foresaw the kind of SMT we'd need and we could only get, and we got it. And you know, I was there with the limit, everything right, but just ended up not retracing, unfortunately. And I mean, like that's also like I mentioned, it was like the same setup to yesterday, where like this delivers in, after closing above, it takes 8 minutes to hit 2R, right? And then yesterday, the trade that I actually did manage to get in, 2R was like somewhere up here where my mouse is. So close above. It takes 2 hours and 9 minutes to hit 2R. So when I'm in the trade, it takes 2 hours and 9 minutes. And when I don't get a fill, it takes 8 minutes. Perfect. I'm joking, by the way, but yeah. I thought that was funny. I had that thought yesterday. The market is closed. I know, bro. I'm just trying to. Man, what the helly? Okay, I think I have to restart this. It doesn't seem to be working. All right, whatever. I mean, there's nothing to show anyway, right? Because I didn't take any trades. So if TopStepX wants to be a little bitch, maybe they have like maintenance going on since it's the weekend. But yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the recap. Till next week.